LeBron versus Jordan. Not LeBron's greatness. No one's bringing into question his greatness. I think that LeBron James, it's not his fault, but NBA rule changes had changed drastically from the bad boy distance to the New York Knicks with Anthony Mason and Charles Lee and all of these guys and what have you. So I just look at it from that perspective, and I think about what Michael Jordan had to endure because of the physicality of the game.
When it comes to basketball royalty, the conversation has been polluted with names that don't belong. Too many have tried to insert other legends into a debate that was never meant for more than two. The only real battle? LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. Period. That's exactly what Stephen A. Smith declared, and today, we're breaking down his words line by line, quote by quote, as he sets the record straight. There's no disrespect in calling LeBron second. When the throne belongs to a man like Michael Jordan, it's not about hating greatness. It's about recognizing a bar that greatness will never reach again. This script will dive into 12 of Stephen A.'s fiercest takes, each one reminding us why this debate has only two sides, and only one winner. If you're ready to hear the truth, ready to embrace the fire that comes from stating facts boldly and unapologetically, buckle up. And before we dive in, smash that like button, subscribe to Hoops Exposed, and hit the notification bell, because here, we're not afraid to tell it exactly how it is. Stephen A. opens this discussion by painting a vivid picture of what Michael Jordan had to survive just to reach the top. This isn't about rings. It's not even about stats. It's about the gauntlet Jordan faced in the 1980s, an NBA war zone filled with dynasties. The Philadelphia 76ers were led by the ferocity of Julius Erving and Moses Malone, a team that played like every game was a title fight. Boston was a fortress, with Larry Bird orchestrating a symphony of destruction and a roster stacked with Hall of Famers. And then there were the Lakers, Showtime at its peak. Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar turning dominance into art, dismantling anyone who dared step in their way. To climb past all that, Jordan had to sharpen every single edge of his game, mentally and physically. This was not the soft league some play in today. This was a battlefield, littered with legends. A Hall of Fame roll call, all fighting to hang banners and crush challengers. For Jordan to rise above that chaos, and then redefine what winning meant, was not just impressive. It was otherworldly. Stephen A. isn't just talking history here. He's pointing to an uphill war that Jordan fought without shortcuts, without special treatment, without running to form super teams. The mountain Jordan climbed was steep, brutal, and unforgiving. Yet he emerged as the unquestioned king. That's why the road matters, because not all greatness is built the same. Some walk on red carpets. Jordan fought through fire. And that fire is why, in this debate, there will only ever be one true GOAT.
I think about the road to prosperity that Michael Jordan had to travel. I think about what the 76ers were in the 80s, what Boston was in the 80s, what the Lakers were in the 80s.
In the next breath, Stephen A. dives even deeper into Jordan's journey, long before he ever tasted glory. It's one thing to dominate when the path is clear. It's another to claw your way up when the giant's already on the summit. Before the 90s began, Michael Jordan had already been tormented by the Pistons, hunted by the Celtics, and boxed in by a league where physicality ruled supreme. So, what did he do? He evolved. Jordan didn't just bulk up, he fortified his mentality. He learned how to dismantle systems, how to dissect defenses, and how to lead with something far stronger than stats, an iron will. Stephen A. reminds us, Jordan's failures were never signs of weakness. They were the sharpening stones that forged a dynasty. When the 90s finally arrived, Jordan didn't just win, he obliterated everything in his path. 6 titles, 6 finals MVPs, 2 three-peats. But none of those numbers are as powerful as the climb itself. That climb, through broken bones, bruised pride, and relentless opponents, is why his ascension means more than jewelry. Jordan wasn't handed anything. He didn't benefit from a league softening around him. He took hits that would sideline stars today, and kept coming. That kind of greatness, that relentless perseverance, is what separates immortals from mortals. Stephen A. is telling us, pay attention to the road. Because how you get there matters just as much as getting there. And Jordan's path? It went straight through hell, yet he emerged untouched at the top.
I mean, the list just goes on and on. No matter who you put up there, I got LeBron ahead of all of them.
Stephen A. shines a massive spotlight on something too many fans overlook: the environment. The NBA that Michael Jordan conquered was a gladiator pit compared to what LeBron has faced. The rules were different. The pain was real. Back then, the league allowed brutal physicality. You could get bodied in the paint, clotheslined midair, and shoved to the brink just trying to score. The bad boy Pistons weren't an outlier, they were a symbol of the era. The New York Knicks under Pat Riley had enforcers like Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley. These weren't just physical players. They were punishers. And through all of that, Jordan still averaged over 30 points per game, still led his team to glory, and did it without flopping, without pleading for calls, without relying on the whistle to bail him out. Stephen A. isn't dismissing LeBron's greatness. He's forcing us to recognize that the road to dominance has completely changed. Today's league is finesse, more spacing, less contact, and far more protection for star players. Jordan was forged in chaos. Every night, he had to survive ambushes in the lane, and not only did he survive, he thrived. That's why Stephen A. is so adamant. Drop today's stars into that world, and how many walk out the same? Jordan did it, night after night, year after year, and it only made him stronger. Because the road matters. It reveals what greatness truly had to endure. And Jordan endured more than any superstar has since.
And although Michael Jordan didn't win a title, the road that he had to travel to ultimately ascend to the point that he got to once the 90s rolled around, says a lot.
Stephen A. Smith makes a critical distinction here. Yes, LeBron James is a physical specimen. When he entered the NBA, he was a freight train wrapped in muscle and grace, bigger, stronger, and faster than almost everyone on the floor. But here's the question Stephen A. throws in your face. So what? When the game tilts in your favor the moment you arrive, how much of your greatness is truly tested by adversity? LeBron walked into a league where defenders couldn't beat you up, where the three-point line stretched the floor, and where zone defenses created soft gaps. Michael Jordan? He walked straight into the fire. He had to build his body. He had to endure literal beatdowns from the bad boy Pistons, who saw him as a threat and punished him for daring to rise. LeBron had the gift of nature and the benefit of timing. Jordan had to construct every weapon from the ground up. Stephen A. isn't dismissing LeBron's gifts. He's asking the hard question: what did LeBron truly have to overcome physically when he already had every physical advantage from day one? Jordan didn't have that luxury. He became the strongest not just physically, but mentally. He adapted. He transformed. He fought battles where the odds were never in his favor. LeBron was born with the tools. Jordan forged them in fire. And that difference matters, because being born with greatness is not the same as becoming it.
JJ Redick's point. I got a 19-time All-Star, 6-time League MVP, a 6-time champion in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I got LeBron ahead of him.
Stephen A. Smith hammers this point over and over, because people still refuse to listen. The NBA that Michael Jordan dominated was a completely different league. Hand-checking. Bruising defense. A total lack of protective rules. Every inch of space had to be earned. Jordan endured years where defenders could literally steer you with their hands, hip-check you without consequence, and slam you to the floor without fear of an ejection. Today's league is built to protect the star. Back then, it was built on survival of the fittest. Stephen A. makes this crystal clear. Jordan didn't play in an era where you could flail your arms and expect free throws. He didn't have illegal defense rules creating open lanes. He thrived in chaos, in a jungle. And in that jungle, he became king. LeBron, by comparison, came up in a sanitized, media-friendly, offense-driven era. The path was smoother. That's not hate, it's fact. Stephen A. is saying, stop pretending all eras are created equal. They're not. And the reality that Jordan excelled in the toughest one makes him incomparable. LeBron's road was lit with endorsements and fanfare from the moment he stepped on the floor. Jordan's road began in the mud, and every step forward was a battle. That's why the difficulty of the path isn't just a side note, it's the defining factor. The rules favored Jordan's pain. The league now favors LeBron's shine. And that contrast tells the entire story.
What the NBA was allowing, the kind of things that were going on, and I view it from that perspective, and that's why I come to the conclusion that the road was tougher for Michael Jordan.
This is where Stephen A. drops the hammer. He acknowledges every beating, every loss, every heartbreak Michael Jordan endured, and still points to the fact that Jordan rose above it all. That's what makes a legend. It's not just about winning. It's about how you win. Jordan didn't cry about the rules. He didn't beg for trades. He didn't jump ship to chase easier rings. He stood his ground. He got stronger. He turned every defeat into a lesson, and every lesson into a weapon. When he finally conquered the league, he didn't just win once, he dominated 6 times over. No Game 7s in the finals. No outside help needed. Just pure, unrelenting greatness. Stephen A. wants fans to understand, Jordan's rise wasn't a fairy tale. It was a blood and sweat war story of a man who had every reason to fold, but never did. That's why comparisons fall flat. LeBron's career has been incredible, but his path has detours. It has footnotes. It has caveats. Jordan's rise? A straight line of destruction, obliterating every obstacle, without excuses. That is what true greatness looks like. And that's why Stephen A. keeps bringing it up, because you can't rewrite history to make the paths seem equal when they never were. Jordan endured everything, and still rose. And in that rise, he built a legacy so untouchable that even the most gifted athlete could never duplicate it.
Thousands of players in the NBA throughout history. I have one man above LeBron James, and that's Michael Jordan.
Stephen A. Smith is drawing a hard line in the sand with this one. No tiptoeing. No sugarcoating. No PR-safe language. He's saying flat out, Michael Jordan wasn't just better, he was different. He was in a class entirely his own. When Stephen A. says Jordan was on another level, he's not talking about box scores or stat sheets. He's talking about presence, that cold-blooded, unrelenting killer instinct that made opponents crumble before the opening tip. LeBron James may have the resume. He may have the numbers. But what he lacks is the aura, that mythical edge Jordan carried. The psychological chokehold he placed on the entire league. Stephen A. is telling us greatness is more than performance, it's dominance. And Jordan didn't just compete, he owned the moment. He left no room for error. No space for excuses. No opening for debate. LeBron has had moments of greatness, yes, but also moments of doubt, failure, and passiveness. That's not hate. That's fact. You cannot call yourself the greatest when your legacy is filled with what ifs. What if he didn't leave Cleveland the first time? What if he didn't lose to Dallas in 2011? What if he didn't need to form super teams? Jordan didn't need any of that. He had himself, his fire, and a refusal to be anything less than perfect when it mattered most. That's why Stephen A. keeps hammering the point, Jordan separated himself. He didn't just win. He ruled. And that level? For all his greatness, LeBron has never reached it.
That's just ignorance, and I have LeBron James as the top 10 player of all time. I got him number 2 all time, okay?
Stephen A. doesn't deny LeBron's greatness. No one with sense does. He's a generational athlete. A 4-time champion. A once-in-a-lifetime talent. But as Stephen A. makes clear, there's a reason Michael Jordan's name is still spoken with reverence. It's not nostalgia. It's not blind loyalty. It's because Jordan's legacy was built without asterisks. He never had a final series where he underperformed. He never lost when it mattered most. He never needed a teammate to carry him across the finish line. When you watched Jordan, you weren't just watching basketball, you were watching perfection. A man possessed. A force of nature. The standard by which everything is still measured. LeBron, for all his remarkable accomplishments, has had too many stumbles. Too many moments where he played it safe, passed up the final shot, or disappeared when the lights burned brightest. Stephen A. isn't erasing LeBron's place in history. He's simply drawing the line. There's a difference between greatness and immortality. Jordan's name is sacred in this sport for a reason. He never asked for validation, he demanded it. He didn't build his legacy through Twitter narratives or flashy highlight reels. He built it through pain, perseverance, and an unrelenting obsession with dominance. That's why his name is still whispered like a ghost haunting the league, because his legend is untouchable. Stephen A.'s message is clear: appreciate LeBron. Respect him. Honor him. But don't confuse admiration with reverence. That level belongs to Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan alone.
I've got an 11-time champion in 13 years in Bill Russell. I have LeBron ahead of him.
Stephen A. Smith delivers one of the most devastating points in the entire GOAT debate. Michael Jordan never needed a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. 6 championships, 6 appearances, 6 closeouts. Every single time he stepped onto the grandest stage, he ended the conversation on his own terms. That's not a coincidence. That's not luck. That's greatness in its purest form. When Stephen A. highlights this, he's not just praising Jordan's record, he's shining a light on his mentality. Jordan never let a series slip out of his control. He never gave opponents a second chance to breathe. He finished the job before doubt could ever enter the equation. LeBron James, on the other hand, has been to 10 finals, and lost 6 of them. Many of those series included Game 7s, blown leads, or missed opportunities. That's not to diminish his talent, it's a reflection of a different mentality. Jordan closed the door every single time. Stephen A. wants people to understand that championships aren't just about numbers on a stat sheet, they're about how you win them. Jordan's finals were final chapters, no cliffhangers, no what-ifs. LeBron's finals history? A roller coaster, breathtaking highs, crushing lows, and storylines left unfinished. When you talk about the greatest of all time, you can't ignore this. You can't pretend pressure never touched LeBron, and you can't pretend Jordan's spotless dominance doesn't matter. It matters more than anything. That's why Stephen A. keeps coming back to it. Jordan didn't just win, he closed. And the ability to close, without question, without hesitation, is the ultimate mark of the true GOAT.
Who once averaged 50 points in a season, once scored 100 points in a game, and a career 22 rebound per game center, who they had to change the rules for. I got LeBron James against.
This is the moment where Stephen A. Smith draws a clear, unshakable line in the sand. He's not here to take cheap shots at LeBron James for clicks. He's not here to ignore what LeBron has done for basketball, the culture, and countless communities. But when the conversation shifts toward comparing him to Michael Jordan, Stephen A. is done entertaining it. In his mind, and in the minds of those who watched both careers, it's not even close. It's not the same aura. It's not the same dominance. It's not the same game. LeBron's greatness has been built on efficiency, longevity, and adaptability. He has mastered adjusting to the league around him. But Jordan was about absolute peak excellence. He didn't wait for the league to shape him, he shaped the league. He didn't chase super teams, he turned teammates into champions. He didn't lose finals and ask for context, he won them and made anything less than a championship feel like failure. Stephen A. isn't dismissing LeBron's legacy. He's protecting a truth that has been watered down in the age of hot takes. Michael Jordan set a gold standard that cannot be lowered to make debates easier. You don't get to place LeBron in that same tier simply because of longevity, stats, or narrative. Jordan's greatness wasn't just a basketball achievement, it was a cultural phenomenon. It was precise, ruthless, global. And that's where Stephen A. draws the line. LeBron is an all-time legend, but the second you claim he's Jordan's equal, you've lost Stephen A. and anyone who understands the weight behind Michael Jordan's name. Because to Stephen A., Jordan wasn't just great. He was untouchable.
I'm a 5-time champion in Magic Johnson, the greatest point guard in history. I got LeBron ahead of him. I got a 5-time champion in Kobe. I got LeBron ahead of him.
This is the moment Stephen A. Smith throws politeness out the window. He's done with the noise. Done with the labels. Done with being called a hater just because he won't crown LeBron James as the GOAT. And as he makes clear, this isn't hate, it's perspective. That perspective comes from watching Michael Jordan dismantle every opponent in his path. From seeing the Bulls go 6 for 6 in the finals, never needing a Game 7, never letting the stage overwhelm them. From witnessing a man who never allowed his legacy to be shaped by anything other than winning. LeBron has achieved greatness, no question. But he's also lost when he shouldn't have. He's faltered under pressure. He's deferred when the moment demanded dominance. Those facts matter. You can't have an honest GOAT debate without facing them. Stephen A.'s point is simple. Stop confusing participation with supremacy. Greatness isn't just about longevity or numbers. It's about the pinnacle, the rare air. And while LeBron has earned his place among the all-time legends, there's a summit only Jordan has reached. That peak is the realm of flawless greatness. The kind that doesn't need defending, the kind that isn't explained, it's remembered. Jordan lives there. LeBron does not. Stephen A isn't afraid to say it, because he's seen the difference up close. If you call that hate, you've missed the point entirely. This isn't hate, it's history, and history says Michael Jordan set a standard that remains untouched.
I think that LeBron James, it's not his fault, but NBA rule changes had changed drastically from the bad boy Pistons to the New York Knicks with Anthony Mason and Charles Lee and all of these guys and what have you. So I just look at it from that perspective, and I think about what Michael Jordan had to endure because of the physicality of the game.
This is the knockout punch. This is where Stephen A. Smith delivers the fatal blow to the GOAT debate. With one line, he sums up the difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Jordan's legacy isn't just impressive, it's a fortress. Impenetrable. Untouchable. Built brick by brick through dominance, fire, and perfection. You can't chip away at it. You can't poke holes in it. You can't rewrite it. It stands on its own, immune to time, immune to opinion. LeBron's legacy? That's a conversation. A never-ending back and forth full of qualifiers, hypotheticals, and endless debates. Stephen A is saying the quiet part out loud. If you're truly the greatest, there shouldn't even be a discussion. There should be nothing left to prove. Jordan didn't leave questions. He shut the debate down. He closed the book. And he didn't need 22 seasons, 10 finals trips, or social media hype to do it. He got 6 chances, and turned every single one into gold. No finals losses. No clunkers. No super team, asterisks. Just victory after victory, the kind that leaves nothing for critics to pick apart. Meanwhile, LeBron's story is still being written, not in ink, but in pencil. Fans are still erasing the mistakes, the losses, the blemishes, hoping to rewrite the ending. That's the difference. That's why Jordan's legacy stands like a fortress. There's no debate left, only admiration. Stephen A. makes it crystal clear, if your greatness still needs to be explained, you've already lost the comparison. And he doesn't say it with malice. He doesn't disrespect LeBron. In fact, he praises him as one of the all-time greats. But he draws the line. LeBron is not Michael Jordan. He doesn't have the perfect finals record. He doesn't have that unshakable killer instinct. He doesn't burn the brightest when the lights are at their hottest. Jordan set the bar. Jordan is the bar. Every other name is measured against him, not the other way around. No highlight reel, no longevity record, no fan campaign will ever change that. Stephen A. isn't living in the past. He's protecting the truth. A truth built on blood, sweat, sacrifice, and 6 flawless championships. So the next time someone tries to crown LeBron the GOAT, remember this: the debate might be loud, but the answer is silent, solid, and undisputed. Michael Jordan's greatness doesn't need to be argued. It simply is.